And so, anything of the mind is not reality. Reality is silence. Reality is openness, is emptiness, is a naturalness of being that just knows itself. There are no instructions in reality. In truth, there is no guidance in reality. The mind is always wanting something. The simple instruction is to be the silence, be the stillness, be the natural awareness, to be aware of the moving, changing, but to recognize that as the awareness of the moving, changing, you are not the moving, changing elements. You are not the content of experience. That we remain still and naturally aware until the sense of being the character, even being the awareness of the character, and all the sense of experiencing merges into a remembrance of oneness where there is no differentiation. The mind is always trying to qualify the direct experience of reality, but the mind will always fragment and divide any ideas about this. Reality is not the reality. All ideas, all experience, none of it is reality. Reality is a simple, open silence, a naturalness. Yes, everything is included, but not from the perspective of the mind that wants to include everything as a way of maintaining its separation. Everything is included in the essence, in the knowing of the essence. It's an all-inclusive essence, an all-inclusive wholeness. But the knowing of this wholeness is in the essence. It's not in ideas and concepts and beliefs. It's not in trying to understand or make sense of any of this with the mind. It is to treasure the peace and emptiness of being, to value the peace and emptiness of being over valuing the play of experience, all of the mind's activities, the whole play of my life, the whole play of the world is a reflection of the mind, and the mind is dreaming. And the mind can never understand that this is all a dream and that it's not reality. And that is why it's only when we come to the recognition of what reality is that we stop indulging in the illusion, in the dream. We stop trying to be a good me, a better me. We stop trying to be anything. We stop trying to be anything for anyone, because the recognition is the reality of what we are dissolves the dream. And the knowing is that there is only one, and all the beings and activities that we think are so important are the same one. Everyone is dreaming their own dream, we could say. There is absolutely no point trying to help or fix anyone within their dream. It is only an investment in the me. The me only acts for the me. Even if it is an impetus to try to be a good person, a better person, to be a kind person, to be a helpful person, the impetus of all of that is the me trying to confirm itself and validate itself as somehow worthy. But all of that is just part of the whole complex of the dream of separation. You will never find your wholeness in the dream, however good you are, however much you try to be a good person, a good parent, a good child, a good worker, a good auntie, a good uncle, whatever it is, a good student, however much you try to be good, it is just the me trying to confirm itself. And it's futile in the essential search, we could say, or the quest to know your true nature. A sign of maturing is a sign where we put the presence of being before the play of the world. Where there is a mind present, the mind imagines that the play of the world and me and my life is more important. And at some point, maybe then I'll focus upon my spirituality or the being. But this isn't a focus upon a new hobby. It's not a focus upon something that the me chooses when it's got time for. It's about allowing the longing of the heart, the call of the heart that knows what this life is for and knows that this life is not about being a good person, that knows that this life is for freedom. The possibility of a human life is the possibility of freedom from the dream, a possibility to awaken in God, in the glory, and out of the dream of separation, out of the collective consciousness, out of the great conspiracy of the mind, and to see clearly the reality of who you are, and what is precious, to be yourself. Because there's no living in the dream. It's all a compromise. It's all a compromise. And that is why the longing of the heart, the call for freedom, a sense of devotion, a sense of curiosity, a sense of a pull, a draw to know the truth. It is about fanning this fire. It is about nourishing what is important. We have learned in the life to push down the importance, and we have overlaid all kinds of misunderstandings upon the great glory of God that is shining right here, that heaven is shining right here. And yet we worship the mind, we worship the dream, we worship the illusion, and we keep feeding the illusion. There is a freedom here, a glory here, that is divine wholeness. And it is the naturalness to know this truth of yourself, to know the truth of who you are, and to stop living in a half-baked dream where you are like a hamster spinning in a wheel, trying to be a good me, trying to be a better me, playing around in the illusion, getting accumulating validation, accumulating experiences where the me feels good. It is one thing to have a certain awakeness and awareness in the dream, but this is not freedom. Awakeness and awareness in the dream is just a little way in to this truth, to this reality. There is so much more. Having awakeness and awareness in the dream is not the full truth of who you are. It is still the dream. The invitation of the glory is to not rest until there is nothing left but God. And so when the body is dropped, all that remains is God, is love. There's no fear. There's no legacies. There's nothing that is important. Nothing that is important. But that when the body is dropped, that there is nothing left. In a way, this is the purpose of a human life, is to drop the body, like taking off a costume, because the knowing of God, the eternal, is all that is left. That you do not have to worry about anyone or anything, because the knowing is there is only one, and that there is a meeting in the one with all beings, companions, family, friends. That yes, there is a play of life playing out. It is playing itself out. Consciousness is creating a reflection in order to reveal to itself its truth. Everything that is playing as my life is a reflection of the limitations in consciousness. Everything that is playing as my life is a reflection of the limitations in consciousness. Everything that is playing as my life is a reflection of the limitations in consciousness. This is such an important key to recognize that everything that's playing as my life is not my life that needs to be solved, that I need to be successful in, that I need to work hard in, that I need to be seen and validated in. All of that is the dream of nonsense. All of that is the trap. And the invitation here is to offer an illuminated possibility to see through the trap, see through the hooks and traps of the dream that constantly are trying to pull the attention back to the me. We are blind until we see. We are so blind until we see. Clear vision is a seeing of yourself. Clear vision is a seeing of reality. It is not about preferences. It is not about my life, my things, my family, my job, my experiences, my companionships. All of that is the dream of separation. All of it is the dream of separation. The one that asks questions about my life is the one that is in the dream. But let the questions be in order to free yourself, not to give yourself a better experience or a more validated experience of the dream, right? There are a gazillion ways to embellish your dream, right? The world, the play, the collective consciousness is a marketplace to embellish your dream. It is rare to have a place that is not ready to embellish your dream. And this is such a place. This is a place that is here to speak the truth, to not embellish your dream. It's not an ego buffing salon. It is here to speak about the reality and the freedom that is possible. At every turn, there is a possibility to embellish your dream, to hang and adorn more goodies, to bring home more things that you can store in the garage, right? Every turn is a possibility to trap you. Every turn, whether it is where you go when you go to a store, whether you're watching stuff on the TV, the news, the computer, whether it's some kind of ill health that's trying to trap you into a whole disempowerment of trust, having to trust a system that is all just the mind's interpretation. The whole play of the collective consciousness is a reflection of a gross imbalance. And it's an imbalance that is about disempowering, because it's about trying to empower the few that have the ability to rise within the imbalance, right? So the question is, are you a sheep or are you a tiger, right? Will you be a sheep in the collective consciousness, in the dream of separation, and just play out this disempowerment, this great imbalance, and keep collaborating with separation? Or will you recognize the fire, the passion, the longing, the fire of truth that is burning in the heart? Will you recognize the true vitality and life and glory of God that is shining within you? And not everybody will, and that's okay. I'm just here to shepherd the ones that are ready for this truth, right? I'm not here to embellish your dream. I'm here to shepherd and guide the ones that are ready to not buy into the great conspiracy and imbalance and dream of separation. I'm here to show that there is another possibility, and it is a freedom from the dream of separation, and that every being is this same one divine wholeness, and every being has the possibility to realize the grace and glory of the divine heart. You do not have to join me. It is not that kind of club. It is about joining in the oneness of the divine heart. It is joining yourself in reality, being yourself, meeting yourself in the one heart, meeting yourself in and as the love that you are, where you no longer need to be validated by external experiences. You no longer need to be seen by anyone. You don't need those kind of companionships that are all about embellishing your dream and making you feel good about yourself. It is that you find the goodness in your heart, that you find right in the center of your own being, that you are love, that you are light, that you are wholeness, that you are everything that you're longing for, and everything that you're trying to have reflected through the play of relationships and the play of others. That it's not about that. There are so many traps, and the invitation is to see through the traps, see through the places, have the courage to come to such a depth of honesty about what is actually being nourished in the play of my life, and where you are nourishing the me, where you are nourishing and embellishing the dream of separation. This unfolding is the most extraordinary grace. It's not easy. It takes everything. It takes everything to not keep moving in the patterns of limitation, not to keep moving in the patterns that the mind thinks as safety. It takes everything to turn within, to find yourself within yourself, and to not keep looking for yourself in the play of the world, in more experiences, in the reflection of others. That you turn your gaze to your true self, you turn your gaze to your own wholeness, and you receive the reflection of your own glory. You receive the reflection of your own light, your own divinity. That this is the invitation of a human life, the possibility. It's not about reorganizing your life to make space for this. It's not about reorganizing your life until the right timing. It's about this moment here now. It's about realizing that everything else that you think is important is not actually important. But it's not something to believe the words that are coming here. It's not about believing the words. It's about recognizing in your heart, feeling the fire in your heart. And if the fire in your heart is enlivened, then you will know what is being pointed to. If the fire in your heart is enlivened, if you start to feel a stirring in your heart, an aliveness of energy in your body that feels like you're going to burst out of your skin, if you start feeling like you've got to get up and get there, I've got to get there, right? If you start feeling this, right? That's the fire of truth. That's the flow of life. That's the longing. That's the glory already inside you. That is the glory that says, yes, yes, yes. There's a recognition in the resonance that this is what this life is for. It makes no sense to the mind. It's not going to make any sense to your friends and family. So don't even try to explain. Meet them in the glory of love and offer them the grace of reality through your modeling, through the love that you are, through the light that you are. Don't try to get permission from anyone. Don't try to wait until it seems like a right timing. Fall into yourself right now. Say yes to yourself right now. The whole play of the illusion is basically a dilly-dallying. It's a delaying mechanism. Following the mind is just a strategy to put off the inevitable. The inevitable recognition of yourself. How many more lifetimes will it take? Some beings will say, well, I've got many lifetimes. I'll just hang out. I'll swing around in a hammock and just eat a few treats and, just kick back and I'll just wait. That's okay. That's totally okay. That's what the consciousness is ready for. It's not a problem. But this is the gathering of the ripe fruit, right? The fruit, each fruit takes as long as it takes to mature. And this is the gathering of the ripe fruit, the fruit that are ready to fall, the fruit that are saying yes, the fruit that can feel the longing in the heart. These words, this guidance, the pure guidance, it's not a guidance from anything other than your very own self. And that is why the recognition comes in the heart when there is a readiness. The recognition comes as an aliveness, as a resonance, and a pull, of a strong magnetic pull, because there's something that pulls, that makes no sense to the mind. It makes no sense. It's a divine force field. It's a power greater than the mind. And when the power is greater than the mind, it pulls you into situations that make no sense to the mind, that you can't explain to your friends and your family why. And you have to come to the place where you recognize that you don't need to, that explaining yourself is just another habit of the mind. It's just the me in the dream needing to explain themselves. Me in the dream. None of this makes sense to the me in the dream, but there's a resonance where it's not a making sense in a linear, organized way. It's a fire that says, the only thing that makes sense is to say yes. The only thing that makes sense is the yes in this heart. The only thing that makes sense is somehow this truth, this glory, this being. It's the only thing that makes sense in a way that the whole crazy puzzle of the world has never made sense. Trying to fit in, trying to be successful, trying to accumulate, trying to create balance, trying to create health and wellness, trying to do your best, trying to, be in the right situations, to create the right relationships, to be successful in relationship, to be a good me. All of that, it's all dead ends. At some point, there's something that makes sense, but it's not explainable within the mind's functioning. It's not explainable within limitation because it's already unlimited. It's already outside of the box. It's already free. It's already your true self. And so as these words come, this is yourself speaking to yourself. It is the essence of pure consciousness, the divine wholeness speaking to itself and saying, hey, consciousness, dancing as limitation. The reason that you can't make sense of your life and make it be the way you think it should be is because it's limited and you're going around in circles, chasing your own tail. But hey, come on over here where there's a wide open ocean of bliss that you can float in, where you find yourself and your freedom, where it all makes sense and you just don't have to keep striving anymore. Hey, come over here, right? This is what the resonance is expressing, is stop trying so hard to be a good me and be goodness itself. Stop trying so hard to get love, to experience love with others, and be the love that you are. Stop sitting as the meditator trying to find peace, meditating as the meditator, trying to create an experience of peace, and be the peace that is undisturbable. Stop trying to create experiences that make you happy and bring you joy and thrill you. Stop trying to be delighted in people, in company. Stop trying to prove yourself worthy and lovable. And discover that you are beyond and before the play of unworthiness, unlovable, and deficiency, that there never has been anything missing or lacking. Discover and rest in your wholeness right here now, that within you there is a knowing of this, but it is not about sipping a little taste of your own wholeness and then dancing in the dream. We have to rest in the wholeness. We have to maintain a sip, a sip, a sip, a sip, and stay, remain. Allow the attention to turn to the one-pointed, knowing that the only way to know yourself and to come to this freedom is to stay as yourself. And the mind will come up with all sorts of ideas and ways that it doesn't understand and how to do that. You don't have to do anything. There's no doing involved. It's truly about being the being and allowing life to live itself. It's about where is the attention? Where is the identification? Let life live itself. Let that character do whatever that character does. It does not matter. But once the focus comes to freedom, once the focus comes to the holy yes, then the play starts to morph to support a deepening. This truth is not elusive. This truth is not hiding. This truth is right here shining. It's shining in your heart. So it is about, will you hang out in the heart where this truth is, or will you hang out in the distraction and delaying mechanism of playing in the play, in the dream? Will you continue to dance in Disneyland, buy some more, another book of tickets, right? Another book of tickets in the Disneyland of the collective consciousness? Will you buy another book of tickets, or will you stay still and watch? Watch the dream play. Watch the experience play out. It's about the fire in your heart. It's about the longing. It's about saying yes. It's about being here and watching the moving changing and recognizing that whatever's happening, it's not that you are someone that's doing all these things. And how do I stay in the being when I'm doing all these things? It's to be the being that's aware of the one that's doing all the things, and to realize that you're unmoved, that you're absolutely unmoved by anything. You never go anywhere. You do not come and go. The stillness in this moment, the presence of this moment does not come and go. You are the presence. You're not the person. You are the presence that is ever present, ever still, ever radiantly shining in the knowing of itself. It's not about the character saying, I need to leave this life, I need to give up all these things, I need to change. It's not about that. It's about being the awareness of the character and recognizing as the awareness of the character, you're never moved, you're never disturbed, you're never changed in any way, that you are ever free. And in this recognition, this remembrance, you watch the character and you let the residues of the life unwind, shift, mutate, metamorphosize. And so the play of the life starts to be a clearer reflection. Everything that's happening in the life is a reflection of the patterns of limitation. So there could be the question, well, what about the reflection of God? The thing is that it's no longer a reflection. It's just God, right? It's just the shining glory. When we know the essence nature, we know what everything is made of. So it's not a reflection. We receive the reflection until we know the oneness. And in the oneness, we only know the oneness. So we're not seeing a reflection. There's an appearance, but the appearance is God. It's not a separate appearance. There's not a separate me. There are not separate characters. There's not a separate dream. There's just reality. And reality is the knowing of wholeness. Reality is the knowing of the all-encompassing wholeness at the level of the resonance, the fine frequency, at the essence level, the purity, the divinity, the untouched, unmoved reality. So we are coming to the remembrance, and there is nothing more important. If we are focused upon this freedom, there is nothing more important than the essence, the presence. And so wherever the character is, wherever it seems like the character is, whether it's in a job, whether it's in some kind of classroom, whether it's in nature, whether it's with family, whether it's in partnership, it does not matter whether it's in the city, whether it's in the jungle, whether it's in the wilderness, whether it's in the mountains, whether it's in the lake, the river, the ocean, it does not matter. It becomes completely irrelevant. We're not speaking about changing your dream. We're speaking about seeing that your dream is irrelevant, that you're not the dream, to wake up from being the dreamer of the dream and to remember that you are the awareness of the dream. You are the awake field of awareness, the presence that never moves. And even if the dream, it seems like the dream is continuing, that's the residues of the dream. Receive the reflection. Let it bring the grace of reflection. Let it allow you to see with clear vision and honesty and openness. Oh, look at how the character is getting validation in that situation. Look at how the character is trying to be seen. Look at how the character, because it's all that's ever happening to the character. The character is only ever trying to be seen, only ever trying to be seen. Just watch how the character is trying to be seen, how it's trying to be good, trying to be worthy, it's trying to bring a sense of fulfillment to its deep sense of deficiency, right? The character, the human condition and the character has a deep sense of deficiency, a deep sense of lack, of something missing, of not enoughness. And that sense of deficiency is what the character is playing out. So it's just to watch. Either you are in complete effulgent wholeness and love, or you are acting out the deficiency. No gray area. The deficiency is very gray because there are many, many tones, tints, hues within the play. But essentially, either you are resting in the love and the clarity of the being and the truth right here, right now, or you are acting out your deficiency story. You're in the character and you're acting out the deficiency somehow. And this is about an honesty to shine the light and see, oh, look how the character is trying to be seen, trying to be validated, trying to affirm itself, trying to be good, trying to have a good experience, trying to feel good about their self. Because once we can actually illuminate this sense of deficiency, we can sit in the sense of deficiency. That sense of deficiency is what comes alive as that sense of deep inner loneliness that's within the human condition. There's a deep loneliness. We spoke about this in the last infusion. Oh, I think so. Maybe not. Maybe somewhere recently we spoke about it. It might have been on Wednesday. But somewhere within every human condition, the condition is a sense of lack, and it has a deep sense of loneliness. No matter how full the life is, no matter if you have a partner, no matter if you have lots of friends and family, the human condition is a sense of lack. It's limitation. The personal is a sense of limitation. And there's a deep sense of loneliness. There's a deep sense of needing to try to fill that sense of lack, of loneliness, something missing, not enoughness. And there's a trying to fill that in the world of things and relationships and experiences, trying to be seen, trying to be validated, trying to be affirmed, trying to prove yourself as good, trying to prove yourself in some way. But that is all the dream of separation. And as once we can see that, see that, oh, all of this action is just trying to get something, right? The me is always trying to get something for itself. And it doesn't matter if it's volunteering, it doesn't matter if it's a do-gooder, a peacemaker. It's trying to get something for itself. It's trying to be seen. It's trying to get something always. What it's trying to get is the piece of itself that it feels is missing. But it will never find that piece of itself that's missing in the limitation of the world. It will have experiences where it feels like, oh, now I feel good. Now I feel good. Now I feel like I feel seen. I feel validated. I feel loved, right? I feel respected. I feel honored. I feel like I'm doing something good and worthy. And then it will start talking about how good I am. And it will start, doing interviews about how good it is. It will just keep trying to validate itself, and it will get deeper and deeper involved in trying to shine within the collective consciousness as I am good. Do you see me now? And really, it's this deep-rooted feeling of a child that's saying, do you see me now, Mother? Do you see me now, Father? Do you see how good I am? But will we take our last breath trying to prove ourselves to our parents that didn't meet our expectations in the young life? Will we take our last breath desperately trying to be seen by mommy and daddy, right? We have to see through the whole play that if we're constantly trying to fulfill this deficiency and be seen by a mother and father that didn't meet our needs, that we're just moving through this life. Could we say courageously that we're wasting this life? Kind of, but it's the consciousness that dictates when there's a readiness to stop. And that's why these words come honestly, fearlessly, directly. Because if you're ready to see through that, you need to hear this, right? If you're not ready, that's okay, right? Consciousness will keep creating what it needs to create. But when there's a readiness, these kind of words resonate within consciousness that suddenly says, whoa, wow, yeah, that's what's happening. And it brings more of a possibility to illuminate, and it takes the mystery out of, this pull to just keep trying to have more spiritual experiences, keep trying to do more things, to have an experience of your true nature, right? More teachings, more books, more retreats, more this, more that, right? More. Try to have more experiences. But once we actually see how this whole mechanism is working, we take the power back in a way. We stop being tossed around in the great imbalance of the collective consciousness, the game of life that we can never win. And we start to come into a true empowerment. And the true empowerment is not about this way that plays out in the collective consciousness of trying to validate yourself by being seen in the world and make a website about how fantastic you are and sharing your unique gifts. It's about actually meeting yourself deeper, 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 deeper. Recognizing the mechanism and not just creating a better dream, right? The collective consciousness at the moment, it's in an evolution which is profoundly beautiful, but it's in a place where it's about creating a better dream. That's the new age, right? The new age is create a better dream, shine, share your unique gifts, right? There's nothing wrong with that. If that's where the consciousness is, that's where the consciousness is. But this is about seeing through even that, seeing through the misconceptions and misunderstandings about spirituality. There are so many centers all over the world that are holding the presence of a teacher, like a clear teacher that has passed, and they're focused upon preserving the teaching and the legacy, but without the clear pointing of that guide. There's like a stuckness, and this is what's very much in the collective consciousness, is that there's a stuckness within spirituality. There's like a stagnation. There's a worshipping of the form of seeming gurus and staying in the worshipping of form, because the mind doesn't understand about not worshipping the form, right? And it doesn't matter how many times a guru gone, a guru that's gone, a saint, a sage that's gone, could tell the devotees or disciples or students, don't worship me after I've gone. Don't try to keep, please, please don't create something, you know, a great legacy out of me. Don't be bowing at the feet. Come into yourself, come into yourself, because there's this stagnation in the field of where the mind just so much wants to worship the form. It's a way of delaying. It's a way of projecting away from your own fullness. It's not what any saint, sage, or guru, true guru, has ever wanted or would ever want. Because it's just simply not the truth. There's nothing to be gained in worshipping. There's something to be gained by resting in the resonance and the clarity and the profundity of a timeless teaching. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Rest in the profundity, in the resonance, the transmission, but don't let it be a place of stagnation, right? There's so much stagnation where there are communities that are a gathering, well-intentioned, that gather with the empty chair of the guru, right? And it takes a firecracker to say, hey, that's not getting you anywhere. It's not getting you anywhere. It's not the truth. Look within, go deeper, go deeper, go deeper. Keep going deeper. Pull all of that energy that so wants to worship, so wants to project. Pull it in. Project it all into a depth of one-pointedness where you see and you catch all of the places that want to project, that are trying to get something, trying to be seen. In a way, it can be trying to be seen as a good disciple, trying to be seen as a good student, trying to uphold. There's so many ways of these ideas getting distorted. And that's why it takes a fire. It takes a fire of truth to really come to yourself, to come to a depth within yourself, a readiness to walk into yourself, to catch your own gaze, to catch the glory of your own light. In the silence, in the stillness. There's a meeting with the glory. And here the meeting with every saint, sage, guru, glorious being in a oneness, before division, before diversity, in the ocean of bliss, in the glory, before even words like God and Mother, before all of it, there's a light, there's a resonance, and the light and the resonance is before everything, and that light is shining within, and it's to turn to this light, to turn one-pointedly to this light, that you don't need to change the life. The life is just living itself. It's the recognition that it's not your life. It's the life divine, living itself. It's a perspective of seeing. It's about leaving life alone, seeing the character, having the glorious wisdom illuminate. You are the glorious wisdom that illuminates. The glorious wisdom that illuminates, so that you can see how this is all working, how it's playing out, how the me is a creature of deficiency, that you're not limited in any way. And it's about rebalancing within the sense of my life, which is at the point, we could say, it's a rebalancing with nature in every way, on every level. The level of the physiology, the rebalancing of nature happens through the intake of nourishment that is natural, simple, whole. The intake of nourishment in the environment, simple, natural, whole. The intake of nourishment in relationships, simple, natural, whole. Right? The level of the mind. It's about seeing the patterns, illuminating the patterns, illuminating where there are wants and needs and desires, where the me is trying to get validated, where there's a sense of deficiency. Is the sense of deficiency, can you see it in this relationship? Can you see a sense of deficiency playing? Use the play of life to be a map that guides you to see through the sense of lack and deficiency, so that the rebalancing can happen on every level. And the more that we are resting in the sense of being, and yes, in the earlier days, sitting, resting, but it's seeing through the meditator to be the glory of where the meditator goes. It's to let the meditator disappear in meditation and not come back. That meditation, true meditation, is the true being. That you live as meditation in a way. The life, a true life, is meditation. That you watch, oh, is there a good me doing my practices? And now I'll get back into my dream, because then the practices are just part of the dream. What we're speaking of is being the being, no matter what is happening. Yes, sitting and coming into an absorption, an immersion in the being is really profound and necessary. It's also deeply nourishing and enriching because it brings you to the resonance of remembrance, the silence, the stillness. But it's the recognition within the silence that you are the silence. You're not someone that comes to sit, has an experience of silence, and now you come back into my life and now I'm going to have lunch. That's the me's perspective. You are the silence. You're the silence that's aware of the me, of the person. You're the silence. You're the silence. Oh, the creature's having lunch now. The creature's sitting. The creature's going to the job. The creature's talking to family. The creature is, you're the silence. You're the being that never changes. And the more that you keep recognizing, I am the silence, I am the silence, I am the silence, I am this presence of being, not so much by speaking it, because it's unspeakable and unexplainable, but the recognition, the felt sense, the resonance, the frequency, the confirmation in the heart. I am the being. The being just is. The person is irrelevant. The person just continues. But as the perspective shifts, the recognition is there is no person. There is no person. There's just life. There's just this flow of life. But this discovery comes in the silence. In the silence. In the depths of silence. There's a knowing, a confirmed knowing in the silence of being. This is what I am. This is what the I is. This being just is. There's no in-betweenies. There's no person confirming. There's nothing external confirming. It's a deep, resonant recognition of remembrance. You're opening to the field of smriti. You're opening to the field of remembrance, where the self knows itself. It's a fine frequency, a remembrance. If it seems like there's an external confirmation, it would be only in the meeting. It would be in the meeting, like, yes, we are one in the silence. Yes, we are one in this love. Yes, you are this silence. We are one in this silence, this stillness. We are one in this presence. It's never someone confirming to someone else. It could never be that, never, ever be that. The being is one shared being. The presence is one shared presence. And the sense of the someones disappear into the meeting. And yet the play of the puppets continues, but it becomes irrelevant. Deep in the silence, in the knowing, there's a flow. And this flow is the flow of life. And the recognition is, it's all a flow of life. And life is just happening. It's not happening to someone. It's just happening. You are the aliveness of life. And you are the deep peace of the silence. It's one. The deep peace of the silence, the peace of the silent being and the dynamic being is one, right? So we find this deep, deep, deep in the stillness, in the silence.